Hello,
Hey, Maria.
how are you? Am I the only one here?
I'm just getting on, so it looks like Jean's coming on.
Oh,
Got some
cool.
people just arriving, looks
Oh,
like.
awesome. Hey,
Hey, Jean. Jean's connecting as we speak.
yeah.
Sandra coming on.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
guys.
Hey,
Hey.
Sandra, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you. What
Good,
about you guys?
great. Sandra, you had a question. Did you get your, you had like a rental question or something, didn't you? Something?
Yes. Yes, this real estate agent, I asked to show the rental.
Yeah.
And he said that because COVID-19, they're not showing it because they have to go in and disinfect. I'm like, hey, I'm fully COVID-19 compliant. I got
Right,
vaccinated, I got booty, I got gloves, and I got mask. Tell me when I can go.
And you said it's been on the market like 60 days or something,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, no wonder, right? I mean, I think, yeah. So is it vacant?
So, yeah, he told me that it's vacant. So I think I don't know. It sounds to me that he just wants my clients to apply. They have other rentals, and then by something, by some miracle, turns out that it's going to be rented, and they're not going to get this one, and they're going to try to find another location for them. Because I asked him, okay, so what is the guarantee to my client that they will get this one, as in this address? Tell me what's the guarantee. He wouldn't text me back. He just say, oh, well, they'll be in the system. I'm like, no, that's not what I want to know. I want to know if they can get this house.
Right. It sounds like it's a piece of bait, right?
Yep.
They're just trying to get people to go there, and then that's
move them to something more expensive. Sounds to me.
Yeah, sounds like it as well. That's crazy. So not good.
No, and I don't expect that from a real estate agent that is, a realtor and is in the MLS and, part of our group. I expect that from, a private person. I'm okay. I mean, I get it, but.
Right. But but not somebody that has, that's crazy. I don't know if that's dealing honestly and fairly with the public. That's, speaking of ethics, right? We all have our ethics, class that we have to take by the end of the year. Everybody aware of that?
Mm-hmm.
You need to go, we sent out an email reminder. You need to go to NARS. I think your local board and the NARS site both have a place where you can look it up and check out your education. So if you haven't done that, make sure you do, because they will, I don't think there's much time to correct it after the first of the year. They start, eliminating you. They take your money first, make you pay your dues, and they say, oh, now we've removed your access.
They have a couple classes in December at Pro.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure it's going to be a busy time, when it happens every 3 years now. It used to be every 2 years. Now it's every 3. So I took mine way back in like July. I remember it was something was going on. I think my younger son was at a baseball camp. So timing was right. So I just, sat on my phone and took it. It was like some National Ethics Day or something. The teacher was in San Diego or someplace. So,
Good.
it's always good.
I did it in January just to get it over.
Yeah. It's always good. It's always a reminder, right? To and they bring up some pretty timely examples, right, of things that people may do, but that may unknowingly violate ethics, right? Sometimes, it's not that it's always intentional. Sometimes it can be unintentional, but a violation nonetheless. So is what it is. So Kevin, I said, hey, and then we got to chatting to get a chance to hear your response.
Hey, Bob, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good to see you. You got, you're almost like the opposite of the green screen. Your red shirt is blending into your red wall.
Right, red on red.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
In a second.
They always tell you never wear a green shirt when you have a green screen behind you because you'll disappear, right? So
yes, yep.
That's too good. And then we have Elisa Drapo and Jessica, who are Elisa's pictures up because her background picture, but she She's not on because she's too tired from tidying that room. That little room looks beautiful, Elisa.
Wow.
If you,
I'm
yeah.
here. I don't know why my camera's on and my background's showing
Well, we
up.
see your background, and
Yeah.
as I said, you're too busy cleaning that's a beautiful, is that, what room of your house is that?
Oh, that's a virtual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
wish that
thought
was
that might
mine.
be the case.
Yeah.
It looks too, what, I don't know, fashion magazine perfect.
Right.
And there's Jessica. Hey,
Yeah.
Jessica. Oh, you're muted, so
Sorry.
that's
Hey.
all right. Good to see you.
You too.
And is it Alyssa or Elisa? Great.
Alyssa.
Alyssa. Okay, very good. What is it? It's Alyssa Caputo. It actually has a married name now, but it's Allissa or Alissa, but it's Elisa. I said, come on now, that's the only, so tell your, and her dad's with us as well, Nick Caputo, so I give him grief. I said, hey man, you mess me up every time I see your name, I can't remember. But my mind is one of those things where you freeze up and start going,
Yeah.
You don't know which one to call her, so.
Hey,
Well,
Bob,
cool.
I'm sorry. I'm bummed I missed you the last book club meeting yesterday. I kept trying to get on. I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah,
get
me too.
on.
Well, no, you didn't miss because I didn't, what happened, you remember the one before we canceled inadvertently, just like last minute? And so I never really rescheduled because we thought about that, we were gonna, be done. So now that, is that Christine? Hey, Christine, looks like you're getting some help to get on. You got some assistance?
Yes.
That's perfect.
Hey,
We
Is that your husband there?
Yes.
The last name we can't spell? Spell it for us fast.
Me? Oh, you're pop quizzing me?
Yes.
USNNAKIS.
All right, nicely done. Did you, what was it, third grade, fourth grade before you could spell it in class?
First grade, I think I blacked out.
First grade, you're a high achiever. That's impressive. That's a lot of, good thing you didn't have to do it on Wheel of Fortune and buy a vowel because it'd cost you a lot of money for that one.
I'm taking off. Enjoy.
All right, thanks for getting her on.
Yeah, no problem.
So Christine, good to see you. Justine, sorry, my bad. All right. See, you didn't have, you got to correct your name down there. It just says Basilos. So I had the "een" right, so that was close.
That's okay.
All right, just answer. Say yes, Bob.
Yes.
Perfect. Good deal. Does everybody know each other, by the way?
no.
Not really.
Alyssa, we can't really see Alyssa, so if we saw her face, we might recognize her. But
I
didn't
think I
know
might
if you
call
guys-
in on my phone because my camera's not working for some
no,
reason.
you're fine. Either way, it's whatever. Or if you want, you can leave that picture up and join by your phone too. So yeah, we can see two of you, or we'll have two.
Wow.
That'll increase our.
Double hitter.
The owner of Future Home Realty pays the trainer based upon how many people show up at the class. Unfortunately, I'm both. So it really doesn't matter. So that is too good. All right, so we're down to 8, and that's perfect. It's about right on half. I told you half. Next time we meet, when we'll talk about that at the end here of when we're going to do that. So we've got people still want. Oh, they look at the clock and it's time. I forgot. It's time to get on. So all right, I'm going to share my screen real quick, and so we can take a look at the PowerPoint, because I will not keep you. I'm up in, I don't know if you can see my thing. I'm up in Tennessee, and I got pretty good scratches on my nose. I was doing winter pruning, trying to get the house winterized, and things are a little more brittle than they were last time I was here. And this branch came flying down fast at me. So it's one of those where I was reaching high to prune, and next thing you know, that limb was a little heavier than it thought and caught me, smack in the head. So teach me to do all that. That's right, though. It's good for you. Don't forget where you came from, right? Don't be afraid to do a little hard work every once in a while. It's all good. All right, so let's grab this. And how is everybody, by the way? Everybody good?
Good.
Good, so
Good.
great.
Awesome. Good deal. That is perfect. Everybody knows about the Christmas party, right?
Yes.
December 9th. It should be an email coming out, I think, the next day or two. We just finalized, got Jim on that. So look for an email and there'll be a place where you can register and respond. We'd love to have you there. 2 to 5 p.m. December 9th. Come for as little or as long as you like, as long as it's between 2 and 5. No earlier and no later than that, because we'll close up, and I don't know if you guys can stay if you want. It's up to you, but I think the bar will close, so that's, people usually leave when we close the bar. So, but we'd love to have you, and if you can only stay for a couple minutes, it would be great to see everyone. We are going to be outside again. I don't know if you were there last year, but we did it out on the patio with a tent at the Featherstone Country Club. It's very nice, and it allows for social distancing and everything. And Sandra, you can even invite that other realtor who's advertising that rental listing and tell them that we are COVID compliant.
There we go.
Okay, perfect.
You're like a Christmas elf. You hop from one party to the next, right? You're over on the East Coast. And
Yeah, that's right. So I've got, I got a schedule. I haven't scheduled the Jacksonville and the Orlando. We kind of just usually do a lunch. We go to a restaurant, and because there's only like about 10 or 12 of us usually
Nice.
at those. So yeah, so it's fun. It's a good time. So let me grab this.
So the book club, we're going to do that another day. I didn't really miss it.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, we kind of got off that topic. So I think what we do is we'll just, I'm going to look. I'll probably just send an email that we're going to wrap that. Let everybody just finalize it on their own. If you got any questions on that last part, let me know. I can email you my notes. I do have the notes from what
It's a great book. But I was bummed that I couldn't get on. I go, what is wrong with me that I can't get my computer to work?
Nothing wrong with you at all.
He tested me, and then I'm like, I'm on the phone. I couldn't even get in. So
yeah.
Okay, now I don't feel so badly. I really felt badly because I didn't even write you like, oh gosh, Bob, I was trying to get on and couldn't get on. So
No.
okay, now it's good.
Don't feel bad. I haven't even broke it open yet, and I'm going to do it.
There you go. Read it over. We're taking a break till after the first of the year, so now you can read that. But we're going to assign another book tonight for this group that you can read over the weekend, read over the Christmas maybe or something, to give yourself some time to do that as well. So, all right. So let's get here. Let's get down to business. I promised to get you out of here. What time is it? I'll get you out of here by 8:30. Nashville time. I'm just kidding. I'll get you out of here at 8:30 Florida time. So you guys can move on and get on with your stuff that you've got going on. So session 3, we're just going to dig in now real quick. Let me take a look and get everybody back up on the screen real fast so I can see everyone. Who has anybody not been to any of the sessions?
Just the number 1.
Okay, but you were at number 2, right? Yes. Has anybody not been to 1 or 2? Nope, everybody's good. Perfect. Who's a perfect attendance?
Wow.
Yeah. See, there you go. Is that our only one?
I went to both, but I'm in Orlando, so I was on the back end of the stream both times.
Listen, now I'm remembering. Now, if I had seen your picture, that's right. Yeah. So she's like been the virtual person the whole time.
Oh.
Got it. Now, okay. Now I'm putting it all together, Alyssa. I got you. If I'd seen your face, I would have remembered who you are. But
yeah.
Now you say Orlando. I got you. All right. Perfect. You are our lone attendee via live stream.
Yep, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And Jim was recording them.
Just me and Jim.
Yeah, that's right.
On the back end.
You know what? If you got to be with only one person, Jim's the right guy. Jim's the guy to be with, right? He can answer questions and do all sorts of things in one fell swoop. So, and Yulia, you're no camera. That may be by design. Is that by design?
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
No problem. You're allowed to be no camera.
Okay. I mean, I could.
No, don't do it if you. Oh, there you go. How are you?
I have a house full of kids and husband and everybody, so I gotta keep it, quiet and so nobody's in the background.
Right now, it's perfect. You kind of have it going on like it's like a little dark background right now with almost like it's you're in the witness protection program.
Design.
So that's perfect. That's
All
perfect.
right.
And Alyssa, you're getting closer. We see your profile
All right.
picture now. We don't see your.
Yeah, I figured that was better at least than the
All right,
big
perfect. Then you're
living room.
right. Then your perfect living room that's out there. All right, perfect. All right, so we got everybody and we know. All right, so let's revisit just a couple things real fast. I'm gonna, last session, if you were at session 2, we covered pretty in-depthly the corn planting concept of covering the big 4, right? The 4 questions we want to answer when we're at a traffic generating event. Is that any of that stuff starting to ring a bell for everybody, right? Those 4 questions. And critical, right? If you get that down along that, those 4, along with the proper attitude, right, will set you on your path to corn planting as it is, right? So we're going to visit that revisit that real quickly, but then I'm going to spend a little bit more time on orange groves this session, because ideally, quite frankly, we want to get where orange groves is our means of production. Okay, it's a better way to go, right? There's nothing wrong with corn planting, but remember, it's pretty it's that hamster wheel of real estate, we call it, right? It never stays done, right? It's that always having to go meet the next new person. Now, the cool thing, though, what we've discovered over the years is that our corn isn't necessarily just, our corn's a special kind of corn, right? Because our corn, imagine this, we live in a special world, right? Where our corn can actually convert or transfer into an orange grove, right? Our corn plant, because we can get someone that wants to buy quickly, right? And get some cash flow coming in. That's the whole idea of why we call it corn planting, is if we treat them right and take care of them and foster that relationship, they can become one of our orange trees, right? Matter of fact, some of our best orange trees are our past clients, ideally, right? So we don't have to realize that. So it's not truly where I chop it down and I'm never going to see, any benefit from that corn plant again. All right. So the analogy kind of breaks down, but it breaks down for the better in that instance. Okay. So let's cover real fast orange groves. Corn planting, and then answer any questions you may have. Plus, we have a corn planting specialist, Mr. Red on Red, in the room with us as we speak. So we'll maybe try and get some tips and tricks from him as well as we go through. All right. So remember, we're trying to get business out of thin air. We don't overcomplicate. So when I say this is simple, you say,
I got this.
yes, you do. All right. Good job. Okay. We talked about traffic generating events. Now, bank-owned open houses, I know this is an older slide. They may not be happening right now, so don't fret. All right. They always come around. It's always cyclical. Kevin would know. Kevin, are we seeing any bank-owned owned houses available at this point?
There's not much available, Rob, right now, and they
Yeah.
really won't let you hold an open house.
The bank-owned properties won't, because of their concerns over health and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Fair enough. All right, so we adapt, right? Now the reason I chose, if you guys remember, if you haven't seen, the reason I chose bank-owned open houses back in my day is because I met more people, right? That they were an attractant. They were the sugar that brought the ants, right? Or however you want it, the salt that brings the deer. Sorry for you Bambi lovers that, there's a reason we plant salt licks so that we can bring them within range of our firearm. But that's if you're a PETA member, then we'll do something else. All right, but it's the attractant, right? It's the attractant that brings people in. And we just found that when we have something that is kind of unique, right, not a typical open house, then it tended to foster curiosity and therefore potentially, not always, but potentially bring in more traffic. And that's our goal. We didn't really cover this yet, and I'm talking fast, so this is being recorded, so we'll get this up soon. So if you need to, I don't know if this is like Audible, where you can listen to it in like one. I listen to my Audible books on 2x speed now, so that's great. But if you need to listen to me in, 0.5 speed, that might be beneficial sometimes. That being said, the idea of bringing more and more people in is why we went after the bank-owned open houses. Now, we covered this in years past too. People say, well, I did a bank-owned open house. It was at a condo that you had to make 45 turns and get through 3 gates to get to it. But it was a bank-owned open house and I didn't have anybody show up. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. It's like, trying to run the gauntlet and survive whatever that show is, American Ninja Warrior, right? To get to your open house. So that's not going to happen. You want it as accessible as possible, right? So as you begin to do these, don't think about, is it the cleanest house? Is it in the neighborhood I like? Is it think about, is it a high traffic area, right? You're looking for things that would, be not something right on Little Road, all right? Because they're traveling at 70 miles an hour and they're going to go right past your sign, but something off Little Road that you can, guide them in, and they're going to get a heavy traffic flow, and they can have plenty of time, a couple signs each direction, north and south, guiding people in and getting ready so that they can prepare to make their turn and come in. To do it is ideal. So whatever that might look for you, all right, is that traffic generating event. We also talked about the difference between why I like open houses as compared to networking events, right? That networking events are great and you're going to meet people, but it's that awkward transition into a discussion about real estate, right? So the thing that I like about open houses is that it's safe to assume that when you come rolling up to my open house that we're going to talk real estate. I don't have to transition into anything. They're ready for me, teed up, and let's go. Okay. So that's the benefit of that. Now, in the meantime, when there aren't bank-owned open houses, then you just try and find the most accessible one you can that's going to generate the most traffic you can. Sometimes it's a crapshoot, right? We don't know. Ones that we think would be ideal end up not being, and the ones you think that wouldn't be end up being the best, right? And it could be, here's the other thing. I think I told you that my goal was, for me personally, that I wanted to meet one qualified buyer that met all 4 criteria, all right, each time I sat in an open house. That's fine, but realize that I didn't meet one every time. I averaged one. Right? Does anyone understands the difference? The math teacher and me coming out, do we need to go through averages, or are we good? All right. That I might be 0 for 3, right? Set 3 weekends in a row, or 3 days, or 3 whatevers in a row. And then when most people would quit, I went and sat 4, and I ended up meeting 4 that met all 4 that day. So I found that I averaged 1 every time I sat in an open house like this, right? If I only met 3 people, my percentages went down, right? My averages, I wasn't meeting 1. So my goal was to try and meet as many people as I could. Fair enough. All right. So whatever generates traffic is the key. We got to get good at this next step, right? Converting the walk-in traffic into business, right? And you're just going to have to practice this. Kevin, let me bring you in at this moment, right? Because I've seen on Facebook, you begin sitting open houses again, right? All days of the week. It's not only subject to Monday through or Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 4. Nothing in Chapter 475 of the Florida statute says that you have to sit in an open house only on Saturday or Sunday from 1 to 4. You've been doing them in all hours, all days. What have you been finding traffic-wise and or area-wise? Help us out a little bit since you've been doing it.
Yeah, traffic-wise, it's kind of hit and miss. Not so much during the week am I getting too many people come to the open house, mainly in the weekends. And I've held them from Wesley Chapel to Waimama, and it's been kind of all over the board. I've been getting a lot of people who already have realtors and a lot of people who are hesitant. They're afraid prices are going to come down, and they want to wait. That's what I'm finding out right now. Getting a few first-time home buyers who are pretty shocked at the price of houses right now. And I'm getting a lot of people like investors who are hesitant too to make a purchase. Maybe they want to get a second house, not necessarily somebody to flip it, but a house that they can rent out. So it has been kind of all over the board lately.
Okay, so let's attack some of those in particular. I understand, the thought, Now, if people are convinced that it's time to wait, then that's okay, right? But those are
Yeah.
kind of people that, hey, look, that's when I think you can shine and say, hey, look, that's cool. I get it. Let's stay in touch. Let me start sending you some stuff just so you have an idea of what's out there. And then let's monitor. And why don't we once every week, once every 2 weeks, I'll take a look at statistics and show you where I think things are going. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but let's, maybe set up, you can get a free Zoom account, right?
Yeah.
Why not do like your own little take on the market Monday evening at 7 p.m. and let, if you got 8 people that are fence sitters, say, invite them. Just say, hey, have you guys ever done Zoom before? This is my first time hosting a Zoom. We'll give it a shot, but I just want to kind of share with you. I was able to pull up some, these are from the, our MLS and the National or the Florida Realtors puts these out and kind of shows us some trends, and I can see where you're coming from. And you're right, maybe it's not a good time for a first-time home buyer for you guys to buy right now, but why don't you keep coming back? Let's do this once a month, once every 2 weeks, or whatever you decide. I'll email you a link and you can come back on if you want, and we can just have a discussion and show you what I'm looking at to see, when we think it might be, right? And sometimes a group dynamic like that,
Yeah.
even with consumers, will kind of create like, ooh, it's that FOMO, right? Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, they're gonna jump on one. Why wouldn't I? And they're probably not gonna be looking in the same spot anyway. If you're sitting all the way from Wesley Chapel to Waimama, right? You might have people all over the board. Waimama is right next to Hal Papa, by the way. You guys, come on now.
Inside joke.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's better. That's not just okay. That's pretty good. All right. So, give me a groan at least. At least my kids will groan at me. All right. That's if nothing else, give me a groan. All right. So, but yeah, because they're probably not going to be competing against each other necessarily for the same house, right, or anything like that. But and sometimes they can kind of develop a conversation. I mean, I'm just thinking outside off. That was all off the top of my head. That maybe you could help them, and a way to engage in them and utilize technology and be better than just sending a bland email, right? Here's another email of one of the 300 I received today that says market statistics update, right?
Yeah.
And make it short. I mean, literally, 10, 15 minutes, right? Hey, let's just pop in. And you can do a free, I think as long as you keep your meetings under half an hour, I think,
40
you can
minutes.
get, how long is it?
Under 40 minutes.
40, yeah. So you can get a free room on Zoom. So what the heck? Why not? It's called Kevin's personal meeting room or something like that. Is what it's called.
I've been thinking about doing that, Bob, with Facebook Live. Even YouTube.
Yeah.
Just doing some type of information related to real estate. Reading it off of the iPad into the microphone and the camera, just to get some kind of conversation. Because believe it or not, this Facebook does go wide. Now, a lot of people don't always hit the like button, but I got people who do see me and they don't hit the like button. So it is getting out there. It just takes a little bit of time for it to grow.
Absolutely. And Kevin's doing a good job because when he does sit in open house, he does promote it on Facebook and puts it out there. So that's good. And so his people will know. And here's the other thing. Can I tell you real quick? Even if, I love to tell the story, it's probably been about 2 years ago now, we taught, I think it was either the fall or spring. And there was a guy who'd been with Future Home for like 5 years, not really done much. And he came to 100K, started sitting some bank-owned open houses. And guess what? He sold 0 houses. All right. And like 8 open houses from people he met at those bank-owned open house. But he sold 4 houses during that 8-week session when he had sold, I think, literally 2 in 5 years prior. Now, okay, so let's think about it. I think 2 things happen, right? I think when we're willing to work, we tell the world, the karma world, that we're willing to work, and it responds. That's me personally. I think we put it out there and it says, hey, look, I'm ready to work to do it. Now, in today's day, he also promoted them on Facebook. All right. So he tracked 3 of them were people that saw on Facebook, friends of his, that he was going to go do an open house and said, oh, that's right. I forgot John was a realtor. Right. So it was just, it kind of got their, juices flowing a little bit and like, oh yeah. Right. And so there's that aspect of it. Right. And then one other, what was it? It wasn't directly, I forgot John was a realtor. It was something else related to that. But oh, no. It wasn't even on Facebook. A friend called him and wanted to go, hey, let's go hit a bucket of golf balls or whatever. And he said, no, I can't because I'm going to go sit in an open house. And he said, oh yeah, I forgot you're a realtor. You know what? Now that I think about it, my sister is looking for a place, right? And so stuff like that happens when you work, right? When you decide to go to work, all of a sudden stuff like that's going to occur. And part of it is just doing what you're doing, Kevin, right? It may not be a direct correlation to the field that you're planting in, but you're going to get ancillary seed fall off, if you were following our analogy, right? That you're going to be able to reap. Does that make sense to you? And does it make sense to everybody else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just putting it out there. So cool. Awesome. Well, keep going, Kevin. I'm just telling you. Question.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I sat my first open house and it was in my neighborhood.
Nice.
And everyone in the whole neighborhood has been talking to me about it, wants to know about it, everything. So all my neighbors are really excited. So it was a
Now,
good
was
week.
it one of your mom's listings or what was it?
Yeah.
Nice. Good.
And actually Maureen is the one who was the other side of the realtor.
Oh, that's right. I think I heard about that. That's perfect. All right. So that's that.
Even sit it and then have everyone in the whole neighborhood come up to me and, oh, you're getting into this. And it was definitely a way to start a conversation with everyone.
Isn't that awesome? And it's fun too, isn't it? I mean, you get to, and there's, I don't know if there's any other business that I love better. I can't, well, there's not many other businesses I've done, but I love, for me, I love sitting open houses. I really do. Because people ask us all the time if we have floor time at Future Home Realty, right? Because traditional offices, right, have floor time, and some of them, and to be honest with you, some of them like Gene, right down there on the beach, it might be beneficial to have floor time because you got people wandering in their flip-flops saying, hey, look, I've been thinking about buying a second home, or I've been renting this place every year for the last 10 years. I think it's time for us to buy or whatever, right? So there might be, but for the most part, floor time's kind of passe. But I tell people, yeah, we got all the floor time you want. They're called open houses, right? Okay, just that is your floor time if you're looking to generate, and the cool thing about that is, now, I've been in the business long enough where I actually you had to do floor time at an office. And what it was is traditional brokerages didn't want to hire another receptionist. So the floor time person was basically the second receptionist, right? So they had to take listing calls, inquiry calls and all that kind of stuff. You never got any business out of it, but you were just answering the phone for the broker, right? This is before everybody had their own cell phone and all that stuff. But it's so... I think it's, very passe, but this, take business to get things done. If you're going to write some power notes, if you've read the book, Michael Mayer's book, right? If you're going to read some power notes, why not do them while you're sitting in an open house where you might meet another client, right? I mean, why not multitask and do several things while you're waiting at an open house? If you're going to sit somewhere anyway and do those notes or do some work on research on your computer or whatever, invest in an air card, get internet access, use your mobile hotspot on your phone, and go make it happen, right? So I'm just throwing ideas, because here's what I know. When you are out there, the world responds.
They do.
It's true.
Bob, I think you know that Sandra and I are on a team that we do the bank foreclosure booth over at the Oldsmar Flea Market.
Right. Are you guys still doing that?
We are.
Nice.
We're still doing it. It's interesting because I know you're asking kind of, Kevin, what's going on in our group that people are coming through. I always believe people. Ha ha ha. That's the thing that I'm starting to learn. Not everybody is. You actually mentioned when people say, oh, they're looking for a house and they have 400,000 to spend. Not really. It's 200,000.
Right. Cut it in half.
But you gave us an idea, and Sandra and I are going to put this into practice when we get the people in the booth. not like, oh, we'll send you, different names of financial people. It's like, hey, let me get you into a texting three-way so we can get the finance person, get it all hooked up right then and there. Because we want to leave with a meeting in place. Like, okay,
Absolutely.
so should we meet with you now? We know if we make a meeting with some of these people, they're like, oh yeah, I'll meet you. And then we blocks out the time and it never happens. So we're like,
Correct.
let's get smart. Let's think how we can do it. So we lock them in a little bit, not
Mhm.
too much, but enough that are you for real? Are you going to respond? So
Right.
we've had an interesting time with that because we constantly are trying to come up with bank foreclosure properties, and they're not a lot of them. But
Right.
we do change it up, but it is basically like an open house, if you will.
And I didn't know you guys were still doing that. That's awesome. Who's in charge of that booth?
Alexis.
Alexis is doing it. Do you know Alexis? What's her last name, Sandra? I always forget.
Starts with Z.
Oh yeah, Zagrodnik or yeah. Okay.
Right.
And then Carl is still with us. We're still
Carl Newman?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
We're
nice.
still the same team that used to be over at the wagon wheel.
Right.
So we just transplanted over. And Lee's one of our good friends. I mean, I talked to her yesterday. She's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay, cool. Well, that's all. And so that's a traffic generating event. They sit at a booth at the flea market, and it's amazing because again, it's just chances in front of people, right? And you guys have bank foreclosure information here or something, right? Or whatever.
We
Yeah.
add them up.
That's
Where they're
perfect.
coming from. People want to sell, people want to buy. It's a whole gamut of people that come through. Sometimes it's building inspectors. They sit down and chit chat with you. I'm like, great, glad to know that you're in Pinellas County. Give me your card.
That's it. That's perfect.
So we really, and maybe somehow we can try and share that. Or when I work, I would welcome any of you to come by and hang out for a little while. I can always share. It's different.
Yeah, well, sure. People are there to buy a sham wow, and then they end up getting real estate information.
And it's amazing because you really do get business out of it, guys and gals.
It's contacts, right? Anytime you have a face-to-face dialogue with people, especially like in that booth situation, it's not like you're selling, sham wows, and then you're going to say, oh, by the way, I also have a side gig called real estate, right? Yours says real estate. So if they come over and sit in front of your booth, let's have a real estate conversation, right?
And we do. I mean, you learn all kinds of interesting things. It's always very enlightening, and you walk away with some interesting contacts. So it's open to you guys. Get our numbers. We welcome you to come by and hang out for an hour or so.
That's fun. Yeah. That's cool. Again, it's just all, and are you guys, I challenge you to incorporate those four, now whether it's specific, but those four criteria into your conversations, right? That you can really save yourself chasing follow-ups that never really occur, right? So let's get down to the brass tacks now, right? And find out what's happening and how we do it. So I love that. And I forgot that you guys were still doing that. That's beautiful. All right. And so again, our effectiveness at open houses are going to be twofold, right? Or any traffic generating event. The number of the amount of traffic we generate and how good we are at converting, right? And so the less traffic we have, the better we have to be at converting. Absolutely. If we have a lot of traffic, then we don't have to be as good at conversion. If I only convert at 2% ratio, right? But I have 50 people through, I get my one, right? But if I only convert at 50% ratio and I only have 2 people through, then I get my one, right? So the more people you have through, the less good you have to be at converting. It's just a numbers game, right?
Bob, I think the converting is key. If you just talk to one person and convert them, then there you go. And I think that's probably the most important thing that we have to be like spot on with.
100% agree, because it only takes one if you're converting at 100%, right? And no one's going to be 100%, and no one's going to, not everybody. I mean, trust me, right? my approach to people when they came to my open houses, I guarantee I scared 3/4 of them away, right? They're like, geez, dude, relax. Okay, stay, you know, and I get that, and that's okay, right? So that's why they'll go to the next open house and they'll relate to that person and it'll be all right, right? It's just a matter of finding enough of the right people. And plus, again, it's when you go with the attitude that we are going in with, that, hey, look, they're lucky to meet me, right? They don't know how lucky they are to meet me. By the way, I think last time we had a meeting, I was over on my way to go meet with potential new agents to Future Home, and they, you know what they said when they left? Boy, we didn't know how lucky we were going to get a chance to meet you.
Yeah.
Well, but yes, I just didn't say that, but they did join. They did join. So.
Oh, I believe you. Yeah, I was like, I bet they did say that.
That's right. In their minds, at least. In my mind, they said that. Then that's all that matters, right?
That's right.
That's it. So, all right. So we're going to be really good at conversion. Have any questions I can answer on that right now? The 4 criteria. Does everybody know the 4 criteria? Do I need to be reminded?
Actually, that was my question because I was
Okay, perfect.
my first
And
one.
Who wants to help us with? Anybody remember number 1?
It's able.
Able to buy,
Able to buy.
realistic,
Okay.
to buy.
Let's you write these down. Able to buy, right? Which means they can get financing or they have cash, right? What was the Kevin next one?
Realistic with the price.
Yeah, realistic. They're not looking for a needle in a haystack. They're not looking for the deal of the century. They're not looking for, hey, if you find something for 60% of market value, let me know, right? Okay, right? Because we all run across them. Oh, Kevin's got them all lined up. Kevin's got a cheat sheet. I love that. All right. What's number 3, Kevin?
Motivated.
Motivated, yeah.
Oh, that Sandra, without even having a cheat sheet, she got it. Motivated.
Got it.
I remember last time, I'm like,
That's right. Good for you.
Yeah.
Motivated, right? There's a reason they've got something that's driving them to buy right now. It's not like I want to buy sometime in the next 10 years, right? Okay. It's like I want to buy in the next 10 weeks. Kind of thing. Not only that, but I want to close in the next 10 weeks, right? It's not just buy, but I want to, you know, let's go. So we're looking for motivated. So able to buy, realistic, motivated, and there's a reason they have to buy. And number 4,
faithful to me.
thank you.
I'm
Faithful /
that
loyal
one.
to you, right? That they're going to use you. I love it. All right. I love your accent when you
Thank
say
you.
it, Sandra. I'm going to record that. We need to record the way you say it better than I do. It sounds better. Faithful to me. I love that.
It's to me.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect. By the way, if you didn't notice, we have a lot of fun in these meetings, so that's always a good time. So, but that's critical, right? And because we don't want them. Do you guys remember? I taught you that little who in your family is the
heritage. I love
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Lineage. I
That's
have
right.
did that
Lineage.
all week.
Yeah.
And I tell
That's
you,
so-
Bob, that's been a winner.
That's
Everyone's-
good.
Wait a minute. In my lineage, I'm like, yeah. Anyone in your family, you know, going way back, going sideways, up, down, all around, anybody. In fact, throw the neighbors in, throw your best friends in. Is there anybody that you know in your sphere of life that is a realtor? And they're like, well, I know 4. I'm like, great to know you. Talk to you soon. Gotta go.
That's right. Because we're trying, you know, and the thing we want to add is there anybody that you would feel obligated to use,
That's
right? Because we don't want, and Yulia, what we're trying to avoid is you doing all the work and them remembering that their grandma tells them that your cousin John is a realtor and you really have to use him, or it would be, you know, a really bad Thanksgiving, right? You know, if we didn't do that. So, that being said, let's find that out now so we don't go through all the, you know, maturations of making this happen and then let cousin John get all the benefit, right? So, and it kind of drives the point home as well to them about loyalty, right? Okay, it says, hey, look, you know, and then the other one that if you really want to drive loyalty home, and this is not a planned script per se, but it's just to have this idea out there. All right. How would you feel if what you did for a living, you went to work for 2 weeks and then they decided not to pay you?
right.
Right. That's
And I
a
think
great
that's-
line.
You know, Bob, I think that's key. I know in the booth, I can speak for myself. I think Sandra does the same and everybody. first question, are you working with a realtor right
Sure.
now? First
Right.
off, ethically, we would never want to step on their toes, but
Right.
we're going to do a lot of work for you. And
Right.
we don't see anything till the very end. So we want to
Mhm.
make sure that we have a good relationship going in. I
Right.
mean, I'm sure, Kevin, you probably do something like that with open
Yeah,
house.
yeah, I do. And I usually ask them if they have a realtor. And if they say yes, I say, well, that's good. Work with them. I don't want to step on any toes, but here's my card. If you ever need me, please reach out.
Yep.
It's important to have a good relationship with your realtor all the way through the closing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? And that's all the proper thing to do. And then there will be other times say, you know what? Because sometimes, do you have a realtor? The answer is always yes, because it's like when you're at the store shopping, can I help you find something? No, thank you. I'm just browsing, right? That's your pat go-to answer because you don't want to be bothered.
Right.
And they don't know you yet. So quite frankly, and you do what you need to do, but I would not necessarily lead with, are you working with a realtor? I would get to it on number 4, right? I would talk about that, but then I would already have shown them, right, my area of expertise and how I roll and why I do what I do, and I'm good at what I do, and so on and so forth. And so because of that, they still might say, yeah, I have a realtor. And then so I've had people come back and say, okay, no problem. I let them go. And I've got another person I'm chatting with, and they'll come back behind afterwards in 5 minutes when I have a break from the other person and say, hey, you know what? My realtor, you know what? I haven't really talked to him in about a month and a half. And I don't even know where they are. And plus I think last time I wanted to look at properties, they couldn't do it because they also, show ponies for a living or whatever, just whatever. They're not full-time. And I think I really need somebody that's committed to this business. Hey, fair enough, right? So I've kind of, I'm all in, as long as they told me that, it's, and I, say, hey, look, as long as you haven't signed anything with them, because really if you've signed something with them, then they would have to sue you over this. So we don't want to get you in that kind of trouble. But I always wanted to show my worth, right? Let them understand how I work and what I do and why I go about what I do. And then they might answer that question a little differently. Because sometimes that's the pat answer to how do I get, it's, Google, how do you get a realtor off your back? And number one answer is tell them you're working with someone already, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I get it. But we want to make sure they truly are working with somebody, right? It was funny back in 08 and 09, but I taught the agents when we were first started 100K, we were coming out of the fallout, the buy one, get one free and everything else that we were going through in 08, 09. If anybody ever came in and said, I have a friend that's a realtor. And I'd say, are you sure? And they'd say, and it was a great conversation starter. They'd say, what do you, I said, well, when's the last time you talked to him? Because we've lost about 50% of our agent population has gone bye-bye. So are you sure that they are still a realtor? All right. And they laugh and they say, well, I hadn't thought about that. Let me check. Right. And it was just a good kind of a lighthearted way to say, hey, you might want to check if your aunt's a realtor. I don't know if you talked to her lately, but MLS dues came due. And if she hasn't sold anything in 3 years, she didn't want to pay MLS dues. So she's no longer a realtor. But anyway, these are just some things to throw out. But and you know what, guys, have fun, right? Sandra and Jean, I'm sure you guys have fun at the booth. It doesn't even really probably feel like work, right?
I even have one guy that comes all the time and brings me café con leche.
Oh, look at that. See, it's like they know. He knows your schedule better. Hey, he knows you have to call him. Hey, John, is this my weekend at the booth or not? Oh yeah, it is. I got your café con leche ready. So, a lot. It can just become, a great opportunity if you like people. Right now, if you're if you're not a people person, quite frankly, you probably need to not be in this business. Can I say that? Squarely, right? If you don't like people, either that or go get a job working for like a bank-owned foreclosure company where you can just sit in a booth. Like when I say a booth, a cubicle, and let offers roll in and not have to speak to the public. If you want to just be kind of a paper pusher, that's fine, right? But if you're going to succeed in this business, you're going to have to talk to people, and that's all okay, right? It's fun, you know.
It is
But if you
fun.
don't like doing that,
You
it's-
gotta love talking to people and
Sure.
wanting to, you know, get them to share information. So yeah, it's definitely, it's like a game. And you have to have
By the
fun.
way, let me share this. This is Aquapana. Can you see that?
Uh-huh.
I didn't want you to think that I was in Tennessee drinking something else out of my glass bottle. So I just want to make sure.
Moonshine, Bob? Is that what
That's
the
right.
word that we thought
Exactly. See, this is how we do Zoom at night, right?
of?
It's a Tennessee Zoom.
This is the after hours
Is it
Zoom.
really Zoom?
That's right. Too funny. Too good. All right. Well, what time is it? I don't have my watch. I played my last round of golf up here this afternoon because it actually, I think it was warmer here. How warm did it get in Tampa today?
Cold. It warmed
Oh,
up.
God.
It warmed up by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we hit like 74 here, but tomorrow's high is like 52 or something. So I think it's going to start raining tomorrow. Then after the rain comes in, a cold front comes through. So, but
I
we're
think
not.
we do too.
Yeah. So I had to get my last round of golf in up here.
There you
So
go.
let's see. What time is it? 7:41 already? 7:51. All right. We'll keep rolling. Okay. Becoming an expert in investor buying. Is that what it says? I got to move you guys. I can see. Yeah, investor buying. I think, Kevin, you said you ran into a few investors, right? They're thinking about it. Remember the buy and hold, right? Go watch that class on FHR University on how to speak the language of an investor. It's a really, really good course that shows you how to talk. Now, when we say an investor, we're talking about buy and hold investors, right? People are going to, buy them to rent because prices are high right now, but guess what? Rents are really high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cash flow.
Okay. And so even though they might be paying, you start to do the math and you put that into that formula that we teach you in that class, they can still cash flow these things.
Yeah.
Right. And have a good cap rate that you're looking for. Sandra, you got a question?
Yes, you know what I have been doing now because rents are kind of high. I mean, they're about 20 to 30% in our Tampa Bay area. And I think Tampa Bay is like the third area with the highest rent in US. So now when I get people, my question is not, are you working with a realtor, but are you renting? Tell me how that's going. Tell me. And I let them talk. Oh, my landlord, blah, blah, blah. You know, he owns the place. So pretty much, I mean, if I own the place, wouldn't I be allowed to do whatever I want? How would you like to own your own place? Boom. Okay, so let's get you pre-approved. Let's have a
You want a great
conversation.
line? Want a great line for renters?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if we've taught this in this one. Okay. Hey, so you've been renting. How long have you been renting? Oh, for like 3 years now. Have you had any increases in the annual rent? Oh yeah, every year it goes up. How would you like to sign a 30-year lease?
Oh, that's a
doesn't go
good
up?
one. That's a
very
good one. Yes.
It is a good one, right?
Okay,
Like, what are you
love
talking
it.
about? I said, outside of taxes and insurance, we can get you, if we buy a home and get you in for principal, your principal and interest is going to lock in for 30 years, right? Go ask your landlord if he'll guarantee your rent rate for 30 years. And the answer, we all know, is no, right? But it's a great one to get their mind thinking about, wow, you know
I'm
what?
gonna
He's
add
right.
that.
Yeah.
What is happening now, a lot of landlords are actually selling their rental places, and the new person is increasing the rent. So
yeah, right. Hey, the minute the lease is up, they're like, okay, we're going to get back to market rent now.
Mm-hmm,
right?
Exactly. And then the other thing that I have found out is that because I'm picking a bunch of rental clients because of that, is that landlords are selling and they're asking them to move out because, somebody's going to buy the house. They got to go 30 days. Figure it out.
Wow. Well, yeah.
If the lease is over and they're month to month, exactly.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
That's a caveat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's when I say, how would you like to own? Nobody will kick you out, unless you don't pay your taxes or your mortgage. Besides that, it's your house.
That's right. Exactly. Kevin, you got some?
Yeah, I met a couple at my open house that had rented for 14 years.
Oh, yeah.
The landlord. Yeah. The landlord is selling the property. They have until March to get out.
Yeah.
14 or
They've been
14.
renting for 14 years. They're very comfortable. They are now first-time home buyers in their 40s. They are like, oh my God, we're trying to get them qualified right now to see what they can afford.
Nice. See, but what a difference you're making in their lives. They had where did you meet them?
At an open house.
Thank you. They had no idea how lucky they were when they decided to stop into your open house.
You know, they're stressed out. You know,
Yeah.
5 months is going to go by very quickly.
Sure. 14 years went by quickly. So
Yeah.
5 months is going to go by really quickly.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the truth. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So kudos to you. Who was it I talking to the other day? I said I was going to tell his story. Someone was telling me, an agent called me and just said, you got to share that I met these people at a bank-owned open house 4 years ago, and they kept my card, and now I'm listing their home, right? Or whatever it is. I'm just telling you guys, I mean, this stuff, it's just, if you make a positive impression with people, all right, you don't know when the seeds will flourish, right? All you got to do is your job. You can't control the outcome, right? We just trust the process. If you, that was one of our hashtags a couple 100Ks ago, was trust the process. It's like the recipe we talked about, right? Let's just trust the recipe, because when I follow the recipe, the cake comes out right. Okay. So don't try and get creative. Just trust the process, right? Trust the process. The outcome takes care of itself when you do the proper things, right? Period. And sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, sometimes you step in it and it's like overnight, and it's just, you just got to hang in there, right? But you got to show the world you're willing to do the work and be prepared, right? Like I said, be prepared to deal with first-time investors, also in first-time home buyers, right? The reason we love first-time home buyers is because they have a tendency to be more loyal, right? They just are, right? It's just by nature, because they found someone that's willing to work with them, and they think, if you were like me, I had my first-time home buyers convinced that I had a shock collar around them if they went into a house without telling them that they were working with me. I had a little buzzer that would, like a dog collar, that would shock them out or something, right? So I have them scared to death, like that. Literally, what would happen? And so, oh yeah, if you ever went in there, it's like there are stories about buyers of mine dropping, getting sick, like a voodoo curse or something. That's right. We're first-time home buyers, and then let your buyers lead you to your listings, right? These newer agents that try and go out and list properties all day long, right? It's just it can be very frustrating, right? If you've been doing it long enough, don't get me wrong, you want to list properties. I'm not here to tell you otherwise. But if you've got a secret on how to list properties, all the properties you'd ever want to list, I know you get those emails every day, right? Come to our seminar. We'll show you how to list more properties than you could ever deal with, right? And it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, whatever. That being said, your buyers will lead you to your listings. They really will, right? Because you take care of people, first-time home buyers, right? Especially young ones that are social media savvy. By the time you got back from rushing your commission check into the bank to cover the checks you wrote 3 days ago on the commission that you earned today, right? You think I don't remember those days? I do, right? So if by the time you get back from rushing to the bank to you look at your social media feed and you've been tagged, and they've been tagged 1,500 times because these people say, and everybody else that says, wait a minute, I work at Publix and my fiance is an AC tech too. Why shouldn't I buy? Right? How did that happen? Right? And so they're, reaching out to you, and all sorts of good things are happening. So allow that to happen for you. Cool. All right. Before we move on, any last questions on corn planting? Nothing? Yulia, did you get your 4 criteria? You got them? Perfect. All right. You can memorize them like Sandra. You can have a cheat sheet like Kevin. All right. I told you that I encourage you to cheat.
For now, I'll cheat, but it's pretty self-explanatory. It's really good.
That's right.
Taking your
and
time.
the nice thing is that Kevin, with his cheat sheet, probably doesn't really need it. He's looked at the cheat sheet enough that after a while, and notice that his cheat sheet is handwritten. That's critical.
Same size as the business cards.
Yeah. Oh, see, look at that. It goes right in. I love that. All right. Because, there's studies that when you handwrite notes as opposed to type them, you will recall them better if you had to in a pinch, right? If you didn't have that card with you, you could probably rattle that off. There you go. Good job, Yulia. That's perfect. All right.
Thank
So,
you.
all right. Enough of that. Just go do it. Right. I'm going to here's a good, I might even start this. You know what? I'm going to create a bunch of t-shirts that say, just do it.
Nike?
Good idea.
Oh, it's already taken?
Yeah.
Oh, is it okay? Think I get in trouble?
I need to be trademarked.
Yeah, you might be trademarked. I think you might be right. But that is the case, right? It's just a matter of now. What was it? Here's another long hashtag. You ready? Hashtag, what to do is not the problem. To do is the problem. Right? You guys know, I got 8 of you on here, including me. If I put a gun to your head and said, hey, look, what do you need? If you needed to sell a house this week, tell me some 4 steps that you would take. You could all rattle them off, right? So what to do is not the issue, right? To do is the issue, right? So let's just make sure that we don't become head knowledge only, but go apply, right? That we've got to, another way of putting it, I don't know if we've talked about this hashtag, to know and not to do is not to know.
Yeah.
Right? To know and not to do is not to know. Confucius say, right? Okay. Yoda says, right? Whoever you want to follow. All right. Okay. Is that because why waste our yeah, exactly. There you go. I love it. Mr. Miyagi. All right. I catch flies with my chops as we go. But not to, I'm, somebody's like, what are you talking about? You guys already know the movie Karate Kid. You guys have been born way too late in life when all the good movies were already made. So that being said, why waste your time knowing something if you're not going to apply is what I'm trying to say, right? So go apply this. Ladies, majority of you are ladies, and Kevin as well. Make sure you're safe. If you're going to go sit in an open house, I highly encourage you to do it in pairs, and not even necessarily pairs of realtors per se. Take a lender along with you. Take a title company along with you. Take a home inspector along with you, right? For me, quite frankly, selfishly, right? If I'm trying to get my business started, I don't want to share my leads with another realtor. But I do want something, it sounds, I'm just telling you, right? If I were just getting started and I needed that business for myself, I'd say, hey, look, we're going to be better suited if we each go do an open house rather than together, but we want safety. So why don't we each bring a mortgage person or a title person or a home inspector along with us? Because the safety issues that do occur at open houses, right? It's like, I've never heard of one occurring when there were multiple people when there were 2 people sitting in the open house. Never, I've never heard. There probably has been one, but they're going to go for easier pickings, right? If they could wake up this morning and said, I'm going to go get somebody at an open house today, right? They're going to pass by the one that has 2 people and go to the one that's by themselves, flat out. All right.
I always am aware when I go to an open house that safety is really important.
Yeah.
I sometimes keep myself between them and the island, and I'm watching them walk around. Sometimes when it gets really busy, I lose count of who's actually in the house. I can get so deep into a conversation. When it becomes quiet, I go search the house, make sure nobody's hidden anywhere. I'm aware of it, so I'm on high defense all the time, and I'm a guy. So I would encourage everybody to just know that you don't know these people from next door neighbor or anybody else. So I'm always cautious.
And it's not always happening in the house. I know we did an open house years ago. There was a police officer out the front. There was a drug dealer in the back. It was just like crazy. I had lenders in the house. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was cool. I was like, it wasn't in the house, but it was around the house. So I was like, I don't know that I'm crazy about this particular area.
Well, and by the way, if you ever don't feel safe, right, then that's, let's live to sell another day, right? Pack up and get the heck out of Dodge, right? If you, everything.
But you're right, Bob. It was ironic. There were people waiting when I went to put the signs in I'm like, wow, this is great. They happened to be lenders and they were big dudes. There were like two big dudes. The third
Nice.
one came through. I thought, yeah, this works.
Right.
I have another realtor. So just for my gal pals, and it could be, Kevin, you're right. It could be anybody. You only have so many eyes and ears, and when there are multiple people coming through. Sandra and I have done an open house where we had people lined up 6 feet apart down the street, and you really had to be on it. Someone had to be in the house, behind the house. We had multiple people there to make sure someone wasn't going to do something crazy or weird.
Right, especially if it's an occupied home, right? You don't want people rifling through drawers and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to keep track of everybody, so you got to maintain that control. But safety is number one priority, right? You got to make sure you're feeling safe. So if you ever are not, then get the heck out of Dodge quickly. So cool. All right, now let's spend some time talking about orange groves, because the book. Anybody who's finished the book, 7 Levels of Communication? Yes. All right.
Not yet.
Who says what book are we talking about? It's the 7 Levels of Communication, right? By Michael Mayer. It's a phenomenal, it really is a good book because it's an easy read. It shows you how to attack this business, I think, in a very logical fashion, right? It's an easy read because it's a story.
Love story.
It is a love story, right? By the way, there's a follow-up book, the Morning Miracle, or Miracle Morning, is kind of a follow-up. And I won't. Well, I will. All right, this is a spoiler alert, but what's the dude's name again? I keep forgetting. Rick.
The coach or whatever? No,
not the coach, not the cockamamie guy. I love that guy. The main character, is it Rick?
I think it's Rick, yeah.
Yeah, I think Rick, and then what's the girl's name, the lender? See, pop quiz.
Book's downstairs.
Yeah, right.
Google it.
They end up getting married in the second book. They're married. All right, so just so you
Spoiler
know.
alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, exactly. But
you're not supposed to do that.
I know. I told you, spoiler alert. You could have muted me, or could have found a way to walk away. There's some stuff in there that I think is critical, and I want to cover in this session, right? And so they talk about, does this sound familiar? The 4 enriching rituals.
Yeah.
Okay. On my book, it's pages 60 and 61. My book is upstairs. But 4 enriching rituals, and we're going to kind of cover those. There's the morning ritual, all right, which includes affirmations, blessings, personal prep, exercise. And by the way, I do mention the Miracle Morning for real estate agents. It's really good. Where they talk about things you would do in your morning, right? So there's the morning ritual. We'll talk about all these a little more in depth in a second. I want to get it. The pre-leave ritual. This one's kind of critical. I'm going to spend some time on this in a minute because I think this is good. And I'm going to make it applicable to today's real estate agent, right? Because how many of you went into one of the Future Home Realty offices today? No one? Why am I paying rent on those places? I'm just teasing, right? Okay. The answer is you don't, right? I get it, right? And so your business is being done, from the car line as you're waiting to do pickup with your kids, right? I get that. If you're like me, I plan my return calls a lot of times on when I know I'm going to be driving, so I can multitask a little bit better, and I know I can, hey, I got 3 calls I need to make, and I'm going to return these calls when I'm driving to my next whatever. So it makes it easier. So I get that we're mobile and we're on the move, and so there is no pre-leave. Well, that's like leave before leaving the office. All right, how old school can you get there, right? But I'm going to talk about that for a second and tell you some things. Pre-sleep ritual. This is big. All right, visualization prayer. If you don't do prayer, call it meditation. Whatever you want to do, all right? But you need to have some wind down time. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And then this one I'm really big on, right? The Sunday night ritual is critical. All of these can make a difference, but I'm going to focus real quickly. Well, the morning ritual and the pre-sleep ritual are critical, right? But I'm going to let you kind of just work through that on your own a little bit. I'm not going to give you any guidance there. I'm just going to tell you it needs to happen. And the pre-sleep in particular, I make it a goal. I'm not there all the time, but I make it a goal to completely step away from electronics for at least 30 minutes before I plan on laying my head on the pillow. Hard to do, harder than one would think, right? So here's a good thought. How about live your life the way you tell your kids to live theirs?
Go outside and play.
It's a lot easier to tell people what to do than to do, right? And I get that because I have a teenager still in the house, and so I understand this. But really, you know what? I don't think our bodies were made to be stimulated the way we're stimulated up through sleep time, right? And I think that we're missing out when we talk about, when I make it, hey, one of your commitments is to get 8 hours of sleep a night, and everybody rolls their eyes like, what are you smoking? That ain't happening, right? I'm like, you know what? I get it, but I think if we made some changes in our lives that we potentially could, right? If we made a conscious decision to do it. Now, it might mean conscious decision from stepping away from 45 minutes of Facebook watching before I go to bed, or 38 minutes of the next. Let me put it this way. Do you know why Netflix episodes roll right into the next episode? Next episode starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom, there you are. And now you're another 48 minutes in before you even realize.
Got the dopamine.
Right, absolutely, right? Let's go back. Has she had that second class yet, by the way? Who went to that?
Oh, it was excellent.
Oh,
Yeah, it was good.
yes.
We could have went. I was hoping to go like 8 hours, because that's some good stuff.
That is really good stuff. I could not make it on the second one, but that first one was really good. That communicating with clarity.
And she's going to try and make a group too.
That's awesome. You know what I mean? Study that stuff, because that is that is definitely working on your business, not in your business per se, but I'm telling you, that's working on your life. You guys want to research that. It's communicating with clarity. I don't know. It's probably not recorded, I don't think. But if you get a chance to see her any place, what's her name again? Robin Lavitch.
Yeah, she's great.
Dr. Robin Lavitch.
And she's been out like, I don't know, 400 different situations and how you would handle them. And it's fabulous, guys. We've got to get that for everyone. Yeah, really good.
Follow her and find out when she's doing something, because it just teaches you how to interact with people and how to diffuse situations, right? Potentially caustic, really explosive scenarios, diffuse them, right? And who am I that I'm not her, but she could tell you better but a lot of it is, hey, you know what? Realize where they're coming from, right? Realize how these people are reacting, put yourself in their shoes, and you're a long way to helping diffuse things.
I think it's also about knowing thyself too.
Yeah.
So you don't have to overreact and blow up your, get your customer excited.
Now you're stepping on toes. Now you're saying, I've got a problem, Kevin. All right. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier for me to say, you've got a problem. Now you're stepping on toes to say that I have some issues. Yeah. But how true is that, right? Until we can say that, I am where I am because of choices I've made. And if I need to change, then I need to change. If I want change, then it's going to take change from me. Right? That's all goes back to that self-awareness. And it's, boy, easier said than done, isn't it? Right.
And Bob, I think you're right. There are times as a realtor, you say, I'm going to switch it on and really go for it and really, work hard. And you're right. Once you put that out there, boom, everything starts happening. And other times you kind of backpedal, you get a little more quiet, everything gets quiet. Yeah. So yeah.
And here's the thing. Okay, this is really cool too. It's a good transition. So the morning rituals, we if you don't know what we're talking about when we say affirmations and blessings and personal prep and you know what, can I just tell you this? I was listening to a podcast. You know, I'm constantly growing, right? So I told you I read a lot of books, listen to a podcast, it comes out every Monday from this group I follow. And I listened to it yesterday. So yesterday was Tuesday, and I re-listened it again today because I wanted to gather more, right? And it's these two guys talking. It's mostly designed toward men. I think it's this Christian ministry I told you about, a Wild at Heart, and they have this thing called the Ransomed Heart, which is overall for everybody. But these two guys talk about, and this one was called Whack-A-Mole, right? Whack-A-Mole, you know that game where you know, in the old arcades where the little gopher would pop up and you'd have to try and whack him on the head. And they started this with, you ever feel like you're living your life like Whack-A-Mole, right? Where I'm just trying to, man, as soon as I whack one thing down, another one pops up and I can't keep ahead, right? You know, I think all of us can relate to that, right? It's you know, and I listened to it again because he gave a lot of scripture that I could listen to, that I could read. I looked up some of the scripture at a stoplight. I didn't, you know, and put it on my, you know, looked it up on my online Bible and took a screenshot of it so I can go back and revisit it later. But some really cool stuff about, you know what, just you got to live in the day, right? And I'm not here to preach to anybody, but there's a reason Jesus in the Lord's Prayer taught them to pray, saying, give us today our daily bread. He didn't say, give us our annual allotment of bread, right? Okay, we want that. We want it, you know, our human nature is to do other things. And it's funny, two guys pointed out, and I promise I'll keep this short, that he was talking, you know, Jesus was Jewish, right? And he was talking to other Jews when he taught them how to pray. And they all knew exactly what he meant by the daily bread, because if you go back to their exodus out of Egypt, right, they had daily bread provided to them in the form of what they call manna, right? So they knew exactly what he was talking about. And if you notice, God did not provide. Matter of fact, told them that they weren't allowed to bring in more manna than they could eat in one day, right? Because he wanted them to know, and he wanted them to realize that, hey, I'm reliant on him, right, for my next day, right? And matter of fact, some of them tried to cheat and they tried to get too much and it got maggot infested overnight, right? If you read the story, it's pretty great. In Exodus, it's kind of interesting, right? But it was a great reminder for me is that, you know what, I just need to slow it down, right? I just need to not be so worried about a million things, not get so frustrated, not expect frustration every time the phone rings. I got to be honest with you, me being a little self-transparent here. Sometimes when the phone rings, I'm like, oh God, what problem now?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure, Bobby's got a huge company you're running.
Well, I understand, but I also get what I ask for, what I expect, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if I can, you know, who knows, maybe it wasn't a problem. I made it a problem because I said, what problem now? Right. It wasn't a problem until I said, I'm going to manifest that out there and say it. So that being said, really, let's guard, you know, how we think. And that's why the affirmations and the blessings. I had a nice discussion with my 15-year-old Samuel about, hey, you know what, we need to live in a spirit of gratefulness. Right? We just need to be grateful, right? Because sometimes it's really easy to get complacent, and no matter our situation, right? But I just want to live in a spirit of not only abundance, but just grateful for what I do have, right? And not always be, boy, only if.
Right.
Jeanette loves to tell the story of, it's been years ago now, that we were driving, I can remember, we were at the corner of Hillsborough and Memorial. Can you picture Hillsborough and Memorial? We lived in a place called Bayside. I can remember sitting in the left-hand turn lane, waiting to turn off of Memorial onto westbound Hillsborough. And she said, really is a beautiful day, right? And I looked down and the temperature was like 74 degrees. And I said to her, yeah, you know what, if it was just 1 degree cooler. Come on, dude. What? How can you find something to complain about? And I looked at her and she looked at me and she goes, what was that? And I said, yeah, you talk about a spirit of negativity, ungratefulness. And that was literally, we've been married 32 years now, 31 plus. And that was probably every bit of 15, 18 years ago, but we both remember it like it was yesterday. So whenever we find ourselves, if I find myself being ungrateful, she says, you better check the temperature. So we all know what we mean. But all that being said, we got to remind ourselves to be very careful, right, about that gratefulness and how that, you know, plays out in our life, right, and making sure we're there. So what happened here? I went back.
You flipped over.
Yeah, I did. Okay.
Me, I don't even have to do affirmations. I'm grateful every day. I mean,
See,
I
there
open
you
my
go.
eyes
You
and
do
I'm
have
alive.
that.
I'm
I
not,
know that.
you know,
If we could all just hang out with Sandra every day, we'd be all right. Let's just,
Oh, yeah.
Sandra, can you call us and leave a message on all our phones every morning, just reminding us how great it is to be alive today?
you know, I get up to be in US every morning. I mean, why would I not be grateful?
Oh, wow.
Everything else is, you know.
My accountability partner is really spot on, very
Yes.
positive.
That is awesome. That's a good one to have. Good job, Jean. Well chosen. It's like choosing a good spouse, right? Choose a good accountability partner and it'll make your life a lot easier, tougher, but better, right? Sometimes. So that's good. All right. So real quick, I want to touch on this pre-leave thing. All right. So we know we don't have a desk that we're leaving, right? Or whatever, but I want to get the first and 10s. Who wants to at least get there tomorrow morning a little under control? All right, anybody? I do, right? So here is what we've taught for a couple of years now, is that when it's time to close up shop, right? Whatever that looks like. And that for most of us, that means just closing the laptop, right? So you might, let's say you have 3 transactions pending, you've got another listing that you're working on, and you've got 4 buyers that you're working with, right? So you've got files open, either they're virtual files or real files or a combination thereof, right? Here's what I want you to do. Before it's time to leave to go pick up the kids from school, before it's time to go take the next kid to there, before it's time to go to do the next art show thing, Jean, or whatever, right? And usually what I do is I scramble, wait to the last minute, realize, look at my watch and say, oh my goodness, right? Usually with less nice words than that. And I'm late, I gotta get going. I shut the laptop off and rush out the door. I'm gonna encourage you to do this. You ready?
So
Set when if you know you've got to leave at 3 o'clock to go pick up the kids, I want you to set an alarm for 250, right? 10 minutes ahead, set an alarm. And what you're gonna do is if you know that you're done for the day, right? That this is your last act as a real estate agent for the day, right? You need to take a look at what you've got going on and create your first and 10 for tomorrow. All right. Things are fresh in your mind now.
Oh.
Okay. You're going to write things like follow up on appraisal on 123 Maple. And here's the appraiser's phone number, or here's the lender's phone number. I need to call to do that. Write it down. It's already open. It's in your file. It's right there. Okay. Make sure I confirm that buyer Smith got their emails, right? Their latest email. Buyer Smith's email is this. Boom, boom, boom. You write it down. Okay. Check on. Because what you're going to do, here's twofold. What's going to happen is tomorrow, when it comes time to go to work again, which means you open up your laptop, right? Now you're going to have your list of things to do. You're not going to have to reopen every file and try and remember where you were when you rushed out the door last and what was I doing and what was that something on Maple? What was that I needed to do on Maple? And you spend 10 minutes trying to remember that you needed to follow up on the appraisal, right? But it's in your mind now. You need to get it off your mind onto paper for tomorrow. Okay, fair enough? So here's what happens. When you do that, your tomorrow is so much more productive. You're going to do in 22 minutes what it took you an hour and a half to do yesterday. Because now you've got your list right there, things to do. Here's the number I need to call. Bam, 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 bam. That's huge benefit number 1. Can I share with you benefit number 2 for me, right? I found myself when I was, I still do this, right? Even though it's I'm not showing properties and all that kind of stuff, but I still have follow up on this lawsuit and right, whatever my issues are a little different than yours, right? Okay, these type of things, right? So as I'm going through here, and here, and here, right? But if I didn't get them off my head and onto paper, right? I remember vividly, my older son, Joseph, he was in 7th grade. I rushed out the door to go pick him up from his school here in Nashville at the time when he was going to school. He's now in college, so it's been a couple of years, right? So, but I remember and him getting in, and I was saying, "Hey, buddy, how was your day?" And he rattled off something, and I said, "Oh, that's great." He said, "That's great. I had to push a kid out of the way in the cafeteria line and that, you know what I mean?" I'm like, "Oh crap, I wasn't even listening." Right? Okay, talk about egg on your face. And what I realized, well, you know what my mind was on? All the stuff that was still on my mind because I shut my laptop down without putting it on paper. Okay, here's what you need to learn to do. All right, write this one down. Flip the sign. Flip the sign. What do I mean by that? If I owned a bakery, right? And I was open from 8 to 5. Guess what happens at 5 o'clock?
Oh,
Flip the sign.
Yeah.
I flipped the sign from open to closed. You have got to find this business can eat you alive.
Yes.
If you're trying to play whack-a-mole, right? And if you're feeling like you constantly have to, you've got to learn to flip the sign.
Yeah.
Got to. Right? If you're new in the business and you're just getting started, learn this now, get this habit down now, and it will make your life way better. It'll keep you married. It'll keep your kids from being derelict. All right. There's a lot of things that will happen, right? Because here's what now happens. I learned that when I could flip the sign, because I allowed myself to, because I said, you know what? I don't need to worry about that. I'm going to take care of it tomorrow. I already wrote it down, right? It's off my mind onto paper. I can flip the sign. So now I can go play basement hockey with the boys, right? And do it without having my mind wandering about the deal that I need to follow up on the appraisal on Maple, right? Okay, because I've already done that. It revolutionized everything I did, all right? So learn to do that as part of your pre-leave ritual. Right, that you can go. I'm gonna check my time. Oh, I got 3 minutes. All right, to go. All right. So learn that. Desk in order, get organized. Just be prepared so tomorrow you can work more efficiently. Right, it'll change your life. And then the Sunday night ritual, real quick. I'm gonna hit on. All right, you've heard me forever harp on this. Take some time, plan your week, review your previous week, plan your upcoming week, and schedule things out. I don't care how anal retentive it feels like to schedule your clothes and food for the week, right? Can I tell you this? There was a time I I learned this about 12 years ago, and I was probably about 20 pounds heavier than I am today, right? I was 12 years younger, right? And 20 pounds heavier, right? And we all know what happens when you get older, your metabolism. So I was really, it should have been in the prime of my life, and I was anything but, right? Because everything I ate, I was on the run, I was playing whack-a-mole, and everything I never planned anything, and everything I ate had a bun on it. All right? Because in a pinch, what are you gonna do? I'm hungry, I haven't had any plans, and guess what? I'm about ready to pass out, so let me run through here and grab a whatever, okay? There was no plan. When you plan things, you will be healthier, right? So you can, and when you schedule out, people say, well, schedule your clothes. Come on now. I mean, and I'm not, take it to whatever level you want, but I will tell you this, people who try and tell me that they can't plan their week of clothes. So when's the last time you went on vacation?
That's great. I love that.
What'd you do? You planned your clothes. Right? You even got the weather map, the weather.com on your app or whatever, and you knew what the temperature was going to be and pick your place wherever you're going, right? And on Wednesday, I need to pack this for Wednesday and this, and you even laid it out in, you probably even put it in reverse order in your suitcase so that the thing you were going to wear Monday was on top and Tuesday was next. And you did that because you were so excited to be on vacation, right?
Very good.
Okay. Why not put it in your closet that way? Right? Why not put some again, I think that when you do that, the world hears and says, look how organized this person is. Why wouldn't I do business with them? Right? I'm just telling you, look how healthy they are. Isn't that great? They're not eating something with a bun on it. They're eating some bok choy that they pre-plan in a Tupperware thing that they, put together on Sunday night so that they could have lunch on Tuesday. The book I read that changed my life is called Body for Life, right? It was written years ago, all right? And it's old school. And I remember this like it was yesterday. The line I read that changed me said this: if today's Monday and you don't know what you're eating for lunch on Thursday, you lose.
Wow.
Ow. I said, ouch.
Wow.
Man, today's Monday and I don't know what I'm eating for lunch on Monday, much less Thursday. Right? Okay. It was an eye opener for me because it has to be intentional. There's no way naturally, trust me. I mean, we talked about the health care business is in business to make you not healthy, right? If you are healthy, you are a lost customer to them. Okay. So they're going to promote unhealthy living at all places possible because they don't want to lose you as a customer. All right. So we're going to beat the system. We're not going to allow them to do that to us. All right. So work on that. All right. And we'll go into a greater detail, and I'm going to hurry because here are your commitments. Here's what I want you to do this week. I'm going to post these on 100K. I want you one time this week. I'm not asking you to change the world. All right. One time in the next week, do the morning ritual. Okay. One time, you can be in the same day, do the pre-sleep ritual. One time, do the pre-leave ritual. One time, time block. Everybody know what that means when I say time block?
Yeah.
Okay. How about this? Time block one morning. I don't want you to even do the afternoon. I don't want you to do multiple days. I don't want you to time block between now and the end of 2022. I'm not asking you any of that. All right. I want you to time block one morning this week. All right. Just to show you that you can. Okay. I want you to still focus on your physical fitness and eating right. I don't care if it's walking 4 minutes because you walked 0 minutes last week. Do something. Take a small step forward. Write 10 power notes. If you've read the book, you know what those are. Okay. Power notes are great. Handwritten, upward slant to the right, blue ink. Look at the index in the back of the book. It tells you the 7 critical points of a power note, right? Okay. Make sure you do that. Try and somebody have a traffic generating event. Go, you guys, if it's at the flea market, go for it. If it's an open house, go for it. If it's something else, go for it. But take the step. All right. Get an accountability partner if you don't have one. If not, Sandra's going to start leaving us all messages in the morning. All right. Tell us how great we are. You're a winner. You're a winner.
Oh yeah.
By the way, look up the little girl on the bathroom counter. Somebody Google this and post it on the 100K page. All right, or the YouTube. Search YouTube. Little girl on bathroom counter affirmations. All right, somebody find that and post it. It is great. She's going to say, she's this little girl. She's every bit of 2.5 or 3 years old, and she's talking to herself in the mirror. And she's so little. She's standing on the counter, and she said, "I'm gonna win today." And she's just like, it's just awesome. Go look it up. Somebody post it. I want to see it again. All right. Sunday night ritual. Do that one time. Start by making small promises to yourself. It starts small, guys. I'm telling you, because what happens? You will build a habit. You're going to like how you feel when you did the morning ritual. So you're going to want to do it again. But don't say, I got to do it every day for a week, or you're going to just get frustrated, right? Do it once and say, how did I feel when I did that? How did I do when I did the 1st and 10 and a pre-leave? Was my next morning better, right? And if it was, and say, you're naturally going to say, I want more of that, right? So that's just the way our bodies and God made us. Begin reading this book. Next book is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Gene, you've read it, right? We attacked that book in book club. It's incredible. Yeah.
Read it again. Kevin, how good it is.
Me too. And Kevin, you're going to like this because if you like what, what's her name? The Dr. Robin Lavitch says,
Yeah,
It gets into your mindset of why we do what we do, right? I
Yeah.
haven't seen it. I've heard a lot of advertisements of this thing called Noom, N-O-O-M.
Yeah.
Everybody seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if there's any validity to it, but it starts to attack why we overeat, right? It's from what I've gathered from the advertisements, it's like, what am I thinking? What happened in my past that is causing me to, every time I walk in the door, reach for a bag of chips, right? And so we got to attack that before we just say, stop eating chips. Well, it's not working, right? Something is causing us to do that. So what is it that's doing it? And so let's attack that. Let's treat the cause, not the symptom. Is that what they teach? Right? Whatever you teach the whatever it is, you know what I mean, right? Let's do the root thing, not the end result, because the end result we're not good at. That's not the problem, right? The problem is how we're thinking and what we're doing and how we're reacting. Cool. We got those, and then these are all our commitments. You got those already.
Yes, those are great.
Perfect. All right. So real quick before we go, next meeting. All right, so if we kept on a 2-week schedule, we'd be the night before Thanksgiving, which isn't usually good, right? How is everybody a week from tonight?
The 17th?
17th.
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
let's go
available.
for it. Let's do a week from tonight on Zoom again, right? We'll do that. And then after that, we'll talk about, I think we only have one more session after that. We'll maybe make it that first week of November or December. And then life is going to get real hectic. All right. When as soon as Justine starts wearing light up earrings, with red and green, we know it's, hey, look, life has changed. All right. She's not going to hear us anyway. Right? So we'll be sensitive to that. So everybody cool? Next week, I'll post these slides. Somebody's going to find, I don't know who that's going to be. The real overachiever is going to find that affirmation little girl and post it on 100K for us. I'll post the slides later. I'll post the replay of this on FHR University, and have a great week. And I'll see you a week from tonight here at 7 o'clock.
Thanks, Bob.
All right.
Thank
See you
you.
guys. Great night.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Great week.
You too.